Hello, fellow alcohol inkers. My name is Terry Jones, and I'm going to show you how I paint an expressive landscape with alcohol inks without using any blowers, without using a lot of alcohol, without using a whole bunch of blending solution. So this is kind of my non-toxic version of how to do it. So what I do is this is a board, and then I've taken a piece of paper towel and I've lightly attached it to the board, and then I have this piece of 8 by 10. This is graphic store bright, I'm sure. And so what I'm going to start to do is I am going to paint this whole painting basically with some direct nozzle painting. So here I go. Now, sometimes when I'm doing a sky, I may do just a tiny bit of the blending solution in it first, but this is just a tiny bit to kind of get it ready to do some blending. And it's just, I put it on, and this is a straw, and I'm just using the straw to lightly get it working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start throwing some colors in here, and that is a Stonewashed, and this is going to be the sailboat blue, and so I'm going to combine the Stonewashed and the sailboat blue, and I'm going to take my little straw, and I am just going to let these kind of mingle. So the idea is I'm muddling the puddles, I call it. I don't know what, I first saw this, I'm not sure whether it was Karen Walker or June Rollins. I saw June Rollins do this in person, and it amazed me. So, but what I'm doing is I'm just allowing this to become. I didn't put way too much on. I am just letting the sky kind of become. And it does it fairly quickly. I have a little bit of an issue over here, but I'll probably take some mountains up there anyway. And by doing it this way, I have very little in the way of hard lines in my sky. Now, I can go back if I want to soften places and just use just a little bit of alcohol. And here, now this is just the tiniest amount of alcohol. So it's a tiny amount of alcohol in the paper towel. And all I'm doing is trying to get the little lines that are showing here to be a little softer, like there's some clouds in the sky. And I think that was fairly successful. I could work at it a little more, but less is more here. This is just a sky. And another tool that I frequently will use is one of the stampers. I thought I put one out here. Here it is. So I'll use one of these foam stampers, and I will get it just slightly wet, not really wet, super slightly wet, dry it off on a towel here, and then I can also do just a little bit more of putting some softness in, but I really have to watch the edges here when I do that. So here I am just kind of softening out some of what I've already, that was a little too much, and making some clouds out of that. And now that I've done that, I might want to put another layer of clouds in here. And again, this is just about softening stuff. So here I've got a nice soft cloudy sky, and I can just work a little bit with these things, pulling off, putting on. But I'm not using, a lot of people will just pour alcohol on and use a whole lot of alcohol for this process. And when you do, it starts smelling like there's a whole lot of alcohol. There's very little in the way of an alcohol smell. So I'm just letting that go for right now. Okay, so I'm going to say that that's a sky. And the next thing I'm going to do is, and actually it's a very, very pretty sky. I like it. next thing I'm going to do is start using some other colors and possibly making some back, um, very back mountains. And so now I'm thinking a little bit like Purple Mountain's Majesty. So again, I'm going to take this and I'm holding up the whole thing. See, the whole thing holds up. So now I want to put just a little bit of a hint of some gold in here. And I'm going to end up using a little bit of some cloudy blue and a little bit of cool peri and lights. And these are going to be for back mountains. So what you've seen me do is I've just put just the tiniest bit of the gold on, and now I'm going to let this become and flow. Now I can take this and just gently put a little bit of this in. Here I go. I'm liking how it breaks up a little bit, but I don't want to do a lot of this. And where's my next mountain? So these are the very back mountains. I'm going to put a couple different really light colors in these in the hopes that these look like. So here I go playing with this little bit of a straw here. And I love the feeling of the I love the breaking apart that happens with the gold here, where it just kind of breaks a little apart. And I love the happy accidents that happen. So I'm just kind of looking, seeing what's transpiring here. I'm also letting it do its own flowing thing. I'm not putting extra alcohol on it. I am just letting it become in itself. Okay? So I think that is the biggest secret, is I'm not putting a whole bunch of extra stuff on it. I'm just letting these luscious colors happen back there. And so now I'm going to put a deeper color coming forward, and I might use some eggplant and see. Or do I want an eggplant? I think I do. Okay. And so this is still a little wet here. So what happens if I put just a little bit of the eggplant through here and through there and let that become? Now, I am not 100% thrilled there, but I am mostly really happy with what's happening here. Letting it just, and then here I can just add a little bit of space or lights or whatever. And I'm just going to let this, again, this is all about letting it flow. I'm not trying to make a really distinctive, I'm trying to make an interesting mountainy landscape that has just a little bit of some lights and shadows in it. And so now I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to come here and I'm going to put a little bit of this rich gold again, but this time I'm going to use some green in it. And I want this to actually mingle with it. Do you see how it's mingling with it? And I want it to kind of make a little bit of interesting design. I might want to bring this up and give it a little sense of a line here and a little, but I'm just guiding it. I'm not trying to make everything absolutely perfect here. I'm just letting it in some ways just guide itself in the areas, not imposing my will on the flow of the inks. So what's happened is I've got this magical stuff happening here. It looks like there's some woods and there's some magic and there's some distance and then there's some there's some stuff happening here, and I may take just a little bit of something like, this is bottle. I want a little bit more dark along the bottom of this layer in here. So again, quick nozzle. And I, as I'm looking at that, I may want to put just a little bit more of the gold in it and see how that will affect things. Muddling just a little bit. This is a very light muddle. There's not a whole lot of muddling happening in here, but it's becoming a very beautiful, very gorgeous piece. And so now I'm going to go again, and I might put some almost a lighter green in there, but let's put just a tiny bit of the rich gold again. Okay, so this time I'm going to follow this line here, and then I'm going to put just a tiny bit of some limeade on top. So, well, I was going to put some limeade on top. I guess I'm not. Well, let's put a little bit of lettuce on top. I'm trying to get a lighter, slightly lighter color. So here I'm going to put a little bit of lettuce here. And again, I'm going to let it become. It really does, its magical stuff if you just don't mess with it. It's kind of the same when we blow it, it does some of this magical stuff too. But when we blow it, we're putting a lot of the toxins in the air. And I do not like that. I do not want to have a whole lot of toxins in the air. So because of that, I try my best not to. So if I want to end up doing something like putting a really dark line somewhere, I may just come in and add a little dark like right in here with a brush, and then I'll go over it again with another with another color, because I'm going to go next and I'm going to put a little bit of, I'm going to end up putting a little bit of the butterscotch in, or Dijon. Let's put some Dijon. That's a little, still a little greener. So now I'm putting a little Dijon in, and I'm trying to get this to just flow. So it is in the gentle manipulation and flowing that we get the magic. So when I use this, I hold it with these two fingers, and I use this finger to put just the slightest amount of pressure on it. And I'm only using this much of the, I'm only using like that much of the piece. And I might see that possibly I need just a little tiny bit more meadow coming up through here. And so you'll see me very quickly do that, do the swipe, but I'm not super, I'm just letting it do its becoming thing. And I missed that area there, so so you can use a brush every once in a while, but I don't often use one. I'm going to put some in here just to add a little bit more interest in that area. I love a lot of what's happening here. I love the gold. I love the mystery. Now the next thing I'm going to do is try to put a field right in front of this. So I'm going to do this again. This time it's going to be more, so you'll see me, I'm just kind of following what I already have. And I'm going to put a combination of the, I want to put the butterscotch, I think. I really want it the sunshine yellow, but I don't have it. Oh, there's some sunshine yellow. I'm going to put sunshine yellow in it. Okay. So now I'm coming and I'm going right above this, and I'm letting it also become. Now, I can take that same straw and gently work on getting this to flow in the direction that I want it to flow in. And I can work a little bit. So you see me just being very gentle with this. But the biggest thing that happens when I do all of this way is that it doesn't get really, I don't have a lot of odor. I don't have a lot of alcohol dispersing in the air. And so I'm going to just put a little bit like it's a shadow in there. And so now I can just work with this just a little and see what I can get for like hedgerows. And so I'm thinking of hills, and I'm thinking of little hedgerows, like you're looking at these hills from down below, and there I go. So now I have, this is my painting, and I've got all of this beautiful gold everywhere. I love the background back there, and I love the purple in there. I may end up taking just a tiny bit, so that purple is the eggplant. So I can always add a little bit of this maybe in places right down here and see if I can add like more of a hedgerow. I want it to be, what you see me doing now is I want it to be much thicker. I don't want it, that was like way too thin. I want it to end up being that really nice thick color. So I'm going to let it sit for a little while. We'll see. And see what happens if I put just a, okay. Again, more time, more time, more time. I'm trying to get all of the alcohol out of it so that when I add it to this area, and I'm just letting it do its own little becoming thing, it becomes. And that is one of the things that I think really works well with alcohol inks, is when we just let them decide where they're going themselves. I like this. I like everything that's happening here. I like up here. And probably what I would do to finish this painting is, because I like the sky too, I like all of it. And what I would do to finish the painting is to just put one little drop so it looks like it's the sun, like right here. And then I will let that clean out to white. But I don't think, oh, I might just leave it white. So I could either leave it white, or I could take one little dot of the rich gold, which is, I think, where I'm going to go with it. One dot of rich gold, make sure it's well shook, and put it here. So what you've seen me do is, and now I can't move it because it needs to stay there. So what you've seen me do is do very little in the way of brushwork. I keep on picking up and moving, I move my piece of paper, and I use this straw, and this is just a coffee stir, Mr. Coffee stir. And I use my straw to gently move the puddles, but it's not a hard down. It's a very gentle down. And so what you get is this absolutely lovely rendition of a mountain scene, semi-abstract landscape. We're really not sure what it is. I like the glow of the misty mountains up here. I like everything about it. I think it's really quite lovely. And thank you for watching.